Welcome back to another episode of Mr. Human Excellence. My name is Ed, and today I'm going to talk to you about what you really need in order for you to reach your goals, right? So, a lot of us has already been, going out there setting goals, going out there achieving some of them, but a lot of us just, go out there and set goals, but don't know how to do it, don't know how to achieve it. It's almost like we're achieving it by luck, right? It's almost like, oh, we're just doing it and it happened to hit our goal. Well, I don't want that to happen to you. I want you to be intentionally hitting your goals and intentionally doing the things that you want to do. So I'm going to give you 5 things today that's going to help you get from where you are to where you want to go, right? So if you like this podcast, let me know in the comments. Give me a like, give me a subscribe. And it's more than appreciated that you are here with us. You continue to be here with us. So, without further ado, let's go into number one. Number one, before you even set your goals and all that stuff, you need to understand where you're at currently, right? So, Mission Human Excellence, we stand for 4 areas. This area of spiritual health. So, where you are with God, right? You gotta ask yourself, how's your relationship with God going? The second part is your relationship, your physical health. Like, how are you with yourself? Or what's your self-confidence level? What's your self-image level? Like your mental, physical, and emotional health, right? So that's the second part. The third part is your relationship health. Like, how are you with your spouse? How are you with your kids, your family, and all that good stuff? And the last part is your financial health. How much you're making, how much you're spending, how much you're saving, and what is your plans for the future, right? We got to understand these 4 areas. So, I went through a program called Transformation, and inside the transformation, this helps us set goals, set 90-day goals, and they want us to think big. Yes, those are great, and we're going to talk about that in a bit on how we, set goals and stuff. But that's all they did, right? What they tell us is, hey, set a goal for each one of these areas. For example, if you want a financial goal, right? It's the easiest one to think of. And if you're making 50 grand a year right now, you want to make 100 grand next year, right? You're going to set that goal for 100 grand by the end of the year, by the end of next year. And then you just, go for it. They're not really teaching or they're telling us how exactly to go for it and what are some of the things that we need to do to go for it, right? You just set a goal and go for it. Oh, okay. First part is, well, they did say know where you are, right? But 50,000 a year to 100,000, or what does it take? It didn't really tell me what it takes. So in a couple steps, I'll ask you a couple questions so you can fully understand what it takes for you to get to that next level, right? So inside transformation, yes, we set where we start, we set where we finish, but it doesn't say anything in the middle. So step number 2 is know where you want to go, right? I feel like everybody knows that. If we want to set a goal, if we want to set a goal, we got to know where it is that we're going. So imagine your life as a GPS, right? GPS always know your location. That's where you are, right? And then you put in an address and saying that's where you want to go, and then it'll take you to where you want to go, right? So number 1 is always know where you are. I do a checkup. I'm trying to find something right here. I'm doing a self-checking every month or so, just make sure I still know where I am. My location of where I currently am is still up to date, right? So and then is where I want to go. Like, what's my goal? What's my goal for the next 90 days, 180 days, next year, right? 3, 6, 12 months. And then I have a 5-year goal. So the 5-year goal is for me to make sure that I keep looking up at the highest of the peaks, like know where exactly I need to go at the end. And then I bring it back down to like, okay, cool. If I want to reach there, I gotta go A and then B and then C and then eventually go over there, right? So let's see. There's some questions I had just came across the other day. That was really good for to get to understand where you are at currently. So I mean, they're really simple. I'm just reading to you. What does your life look like right now? So what? For let's take spiritual health as an example, right? So where are you at currently right now? So for spiritual, it'd be like, where's your current relationship with God, right? Answer that for yourself. So as for step number one, I know I'm going back and forth, but for step number one, you just answer, where are you currently with the relationship you have with God? And then for step number two, you ask yourself the question, what is it that I want to be in my relationship with God? And do the same thing for all four areas, right? In spiritual, physical, your relationship, and your financial health. And that's just a simple question for us to understand, for you to understand yourself, where you're currently at, and do a deep evaluation on the things that you want to do and what you want to achieve, right? So once you did number one, number two, number one is, knowing where you are at currently. Number two is setting yourself a goal, basically know where you are going to go. Then it goes to number three is really understand what it takes. The best way to understand this is not asking yourself what it takes. This is where you might need to go out and ask another person who's already accomplished what you want to accomplish, and ask them, hey, what did it take you, right? So I just I'm talking to a mentor right now, right? I'm like, I want to get to this place. Like, I think this is what it takes, but I don't know, right? I've never been there and never gone through this road. So, but I think this is what it takes. And he told me, it's a good thing in theory, but what about all the missteps and bumps and speed bumps all on the road? Have you taken that into consideration? I'm like, well, obviously not, because I don't know where the speed bumps are, right? So I asked him, what did it take you? And he told me some of the things that, that took him, that he, the amount of hours he works and all that stuff. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm not working enough hours. I'm not putting enough hours. I'm not focusing on certain things, right? So now I get to readjust on how I go about this journey, right? So that's what it takes to really understand what it takes. You might have to ask another person. If you want to lose 50 pounds, you might want to ask somebody who's already lost 50 pounds and ask him what it takes, and then be ready to do the work and be ready to do exactly what it takes, right? Now, you understand where you are, you understand where you want to go, you understand how the road looks like. It's time for us to break it down, break that big goal down into smaller goals. I think Jordan Belfort is the one who said this. If you have a big goal, you gotta break it down into smaller things. So once you accomplish one, you really evaluate, and then you accomplish another one, you really evaluate what it takes and all that stuff. So, for example, I'm building my TikTok right now. I have a few months ago, I had about 500 people following me, and now it's at 700, right? But what did it take for me to go from 500 to 700? I started following some people who are creating content on TikTok and that are about money, that are about finances, and that are about they're just big people, big names. And then I stopped posting for a while because I took a break because of the kiddo and all that stuff, and then gained followers. I'm like, that's interesting. I didn't post anything. Why did I gain followers? It turns out they're all fake accounts, right? So if your goal is to go from 500 to 700, and you just want to reach that, doesn't matter what it costs, yeah, you can follow a bunch of big accounts and you get to 700. But is that the 700 that you want, right? So breaking it down into smaller goals doesn't necessarily mean if I want to grow my audience to 1,000, right now from 0 to 1,000, doesn't mean breaking it down is okay. first month is going to be 10. The second month is going to be 20, right? Breaking it down to such a degree and such clarity where every single day you show up, it's not about the results that you're producing, it's about the work that you're doing. So for me, this is a new podcast. If I want this podcast to get to 1,000 people, obviously I have to go through 1, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4 subscribers, right? And eventually get to 1,000. But what do I need to do in order to get 1 subscriber? Do I need to post content every day? Do I need to talk to people about the podcast every day? Right? What are the process for me to get to the place I want to go? That's where the jam is. That's where we keep ourselves disciplined and accountable, and consistent on the things that we need to do in order for us to achieve the goals I want to achieve. Right? So not just breaking the goals down into smaller steps, but breaking it down in such a clear way that you know what you need to do every single day. So once you sit down, you start working, you know what it is that you're going to do. Right? So that's number 4. Number 5 is evaluate every step you go. A lot of us just, especially high achievers, we just put our head down and go, and we forget to look back. When we look back, we learn from our mistakes, we learn what we did good, and we repeat the things that we do good, and learn the lessons that we need to learn along the way, right? So we need to look back. We need to evaluate. Hey, what are some of the things that you did good? So instead of just saying things, right, I'm gonna give you 3 questions you need to ask. So question number 1, what are 3 things that you did good today? If you evaluate every day, is, what are 3 things you did good today? If you evaluate every week, it's like, what are 3 things that went well this week, right? And the second question is, what are 2 things that didn't go well today or this week? I would recommend you at minimum doing evaluation every week, and I need to get back on doing an evaluation every day. I'll be real, I'm still catching up on a lot of things. And question 1 is 3 things that went well. Question 2 is 2 things that didn't go well. And the last question is, what can you improve on tomorrow? 1 thing that you can improve on tomorrow, and how are you going to implement it? That's it. That's how you evaluate. If you just learn 1 thing a day, just learn and execute on 1 thing a day, and keep that consistent. I mean, I know successful people, and they're going to tell you it doesn't take a genius to be successful. It just takes consistency, discipline, and execution. Okay, so that's it for all the things I want to talk to you about today. So if you really want to achieve your goals, these are some of the things that you might want to consider, right? A lot of us just set goals, don't know where we are, so we start running in 5 different directions and getting nothing done, right? Or we can set a goal that is way too big for us to accomplish within a certain amount of time. Or we can set a goal way too small and make our lives too easy, right? And then, understanding what it really takes, getting a mentor, getting accountability, and breaking it down into smaller steps where every step of the goal, it become a daily activity. So the daily activities that you do is going to help you to get to your big goal, right? And lastly is evaluate everything that you do, and just evaluate as you go, right? So those are the 5 things you need to understand and execute on in order for you to achieve your goals and achieve the things that you want to achieve. So thank you all for listening. Like always, I appreciate your time. And if you like this episode, give me a like, give me a subscribe, and then I'll see you in the next one.